Sorry, we're a few minutes late, everybody. There was a little issue with some cameras, and it's my fault. So, my name is
I
Matthew
wasn't going to
Baxter.
say it.
I figured I'd get it out of the way. My name is my name is Matthew Baxter, and
I'm Karen Stolzner,
And allegedly, I'm Blake Smith. And this is my fault
allegedly.
this is happening. That's a fact. So so we're live now, right? In fact, I'm looking at it now on the YouTubes. So I want to be able
Okay, well, there's
to get
proof.
in with the listeners. So yeah.
yeah,
Actually,
no,
I can't because I haven't signed in apparently. So I will be in the chat as soon as I can figure out how to sign into my own account.
Yeah,
well,
we're well
they will start
prepared.
streaming in, and yeah, just make sure that while you're in there, you're the one running this show,
Right,
so
exactly. Right.
make
Sunday Night
sure.
Fever.
Yep.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk about what we're here for. So we've got this running series that we've been doing on YouTube called Debased on a True Story. All right.
Mhm.
And the idea behind Debased on a True Story is we generally look at horror movies that are allegedly based on true stories and then go to
Oh
see
God,
whether or
I
not
am
that's
waiting to hear the explanation for
yeah,
why we're
well,
doing this movie.
because about a year ago, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, it could have been 2 years. This is after COVID, so it could be any time between
Yeah,
2020 and now because all time is
it's
one
a
flat,
blur.
it's a
Yeah.
flat circle. It's what time is. So
Yeah.
so
Much like
I
our Earth.
found out that Saturday Night Fever, this really culturally important movie, was based on a true story. I was very excited about this, and I wanted to go read more about it. And then when I started digging into it, I discovered that that true story isn't, and it's just fascinating to me.
Well,
So
what I'm wondering is where's the paranormal theme?
Where's the monster?
um,
Well,
I
Travolta's
don't know. Okay,
hair.
I'll tell you that this is one of those things. Okay, so I grew up in the '70s, and so the music from this album was incredibly popular. So the Bee Gees blew up. They had existed before, but their careers were waning. They were in a stagnant period, according to them, and their creativity. And then this soundtrack hit, and they sold 20 million copies. It eventually sold more than 40 million copies, but like really quickly sold 20 million. The movie made $11 million in the first 11 days. Okay, so huge, huge film, right?
Well, I'd
And
heard that the Bee Gees earned so much money that the movie producer and the director actually wanted a cut of it and ended up taking part of that. They did so well. But I'd also heard that the Bee Gees weren't in as much of a slump as people were thinking, that they had done a world
they
tour and
weren't they weren't in a financial slump. They were in a creative slump, according to them. That's what I
and
read in
yeah,
interviews.
I've heard conflicting things. You'd gone and done a tour in Australia and other places. So I don't know. I wonder if that's kind of part of the story,
The
part of the
mythology.
folklore. Yeah,
There's
that
a
oh
lot of mythologizing.
they
There
were
is
going
definitely a lot.
down
Yeah,
until
and
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever.
we
I don't
definitely
know.
want to circle back to the Bee Gees on this because yeah, there's some things to be said there about their
But so there's
contributions and everything. So
there's very little supernatural, although there's a subplot with a priest who's leaving the priesthood. I thought if at any point he had turned to do an exorcism, it would have only improved the film.
There's a better sequel
Well,
than the one that's
well,
out there.
yeah. Well, okay, so I only watched this film for the
we're
first
gonna get a
time.
GoFundMe started for that sequel. So anybody out there that
Again,
Just
I
keep
think it could
away
be edited in
Stallone. Yeah.
really, really, yeah, yeah. But it's I didn't realize what I was asking you guys to watch because I had never seen the film, right? I just knew it was really important. And the soundtrack,
Thanks
again,
a
the
lot.
soundtrack. Oh my God. The last 20 minutes of this was harder than any horror movie I've watched in a long time. I mean,
Well, a lot of social horror and toxic masculinity, I think, as
a
well.
lot of
But
things have changed. Yeah.
I want to say that this was my first viewing too, and I was really surprised that Matt hadn't seen it before either. And you know what? I think I could have gone my entire life without seeing it and being perfectly fine.
Well, again, so
now
let me
this is
just go
just
back
an
to the
idea for the better sequel. We can
oh,
stay away from
nice.
Travolta, but we can
Now everyone can see all of your messages, sir.
right.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
Oh, can they?
Yeah, yeah, you have
Yes.
to zoom in on the photo. You're on the wrong screen, maybe, if you're
That could be. That could be. So,
Tech
and
support
what I'll
indeed.
do, yeah, yeah, I am not a tech support guy. No,
so
this is what it said. It said that it was this right here. So is that correct? Is that
there,
No.
there it is. There it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's Blake as John Travolta with the pose, and I've heard too that that pose wasn't actually in the movie, that that was taken
Right. It was
outside
a
of
now?
the film.
promotional photography.
Yeah, you guys may think that this is photoshopped, but no, Blake actually was the stunt double
A
for
lot of
this
people
at the
don't know
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, here they are at a
Well,
party later, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can see that.
Twins,
Yeah, that
twinsies.
so they've been hanging out for a long time.
But
Um,
when
and
I had posted that
To be
picture
clear,
around, I'd posted the going clear. I'd posted the first picture around and said, yeah, this is what we're going to be talking about. Saturday Night Fever. Send your criticisms to Blake. And so, friend of the show, Brian Sharpless, he saw the picture, Blake, and he said, "Don't touch the hair." So,
very funny line. Very
yeah.
funny line.
Well, there
So
it is. There you go.
So this whole thing stems from an article in New York Magazine called
Mm.
"Tribal Rights of the New Saturday Night" by Nick
Very,
Cohn.
very catchy name. Very, very
Yeah,
catchy.
it. Look, I
Not
read it to prepare for the
long-winded
show.
or verbose at all.
It's a good article. It reads almost like a really good short story, which is
Oh,
not a
apparently it
coincidence.
is.
Right?
yeah, and that's kind of what threw me off about it. Was a lot of it was sounding like it was this third person omniscient view that
Yeah,
sounded like a story
Well,
rather
isn't
yeah.
there
than
a disclaimer
an
in
interview.
the article as well? Which is, I guess,
Uh,
along the lines of what we always hear when it comes to Dote's
Well,
movies.
here's how it actually opens up. It says, over the past few months, much of my time has been spent on watching this new generation, moving from neighborhood to neighborhood, from disco to disco. An explorer out of my depth, I have tried to learn the patterns, the old, new tribal rights. In the present article, I have focused on one club and one tight-knit group, which seem to sum up the experience as a whole. Artist James McMullen also spent many hours observing this development, but his paintings reproduced here are less specific. Although they deal with the same locations and group, they are generalized images of these Saturday night rituals. Everything described in this article is factual and was either witnessed by me or told to me directly by the people involved. Only the names of the main characters have been changed.
And that's the hallmark of Dotes, all they're based on true
It would,
stories. They always
yes,
say this is true. The
this is
names
true.
have been
This really
changed,
happened.
but
Yeah,
yeah, really
exactly.
happened. And so, and also in there, what he says, he's been researching this for a long period of time. From my understanding, he'd gone there, I think, one night, turned up, there was a drunken fight taking place.
Yep,
Someone vomited on his, I don't know, flares, and he just left, and that was it.
that was
And
it.
then he
So
concocted the whole story. So I guess
everything else is
we're
Chat
done.
GPT.
We didn't have to say anything else. We're done.
I mean, I guess what I wanted to talk about is okay, here's why. Here's why. Because after doing Monster Talk for so long, I've become convinced that the real important element of any monster situation is, maybe it's the unit in which we should measure these things, is how many stories are generated about the monster flap or the monster sighting. Because the
Mhm.
stories are the thing that actually gets reproduced. We don't, nobody's laying baby Bigfoot eggs. There's not, I mean, I don't think Bigfoot's a real animal, but the stories keep coming and the stories keep changing. And what happens in this case that I find so fascinating is this story is made up, but it's so popular that it inspires someone to make a movie deal out of it. And then the movie is so popular that it reinvigorates disco, which by most standards was actually on the wane before this film came out. Disco explodes. And people are acting out the kind of dance scenes and fashion that they saw in this film, which is based on nonsense. It's
Well,
all made up.
this is life imitating art, I guess,
Yes.
in
Well,
this
I
case.
see it, and I will continue to argue this over the rest of my life, I guess. But I think there's this,
Well, this episode at least.
or this episode at least, that there's a circular pattern where folklore and fiction and perceived experience interact with each other in a sort of Ouroboros. That folklore affects how people write fiction, and then inspires people, and folklore inspires people the way they perceive things. So I would say, as people, like from a folklore perspective, this is a made up fiction that people interpreted as real and then used ostension to try to relive, right? So that's my folklorist interpretation. But I mean, wow, I mean, that's culture in a nutshell. Like like something does not have to be true to have a massive impact, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
fake
but
news, but yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I just think that it's not the worst crime that this movie was based on fiction, but it was just in him lying and claiming that he'd done all of this research, and apparently it was based on, I think, a kind of uh, he'd collated the characters of a number of people from his youth. I think a friend
Yeah,
of his, because he was an English
right.
journalist, and so an English friend
In
of
your
his
mind, it's all mod people on mopeds instead of yeah.
mods, I guess, from the 60s, and instead of
Yeah.
yeah, disco fans of the 70s. But an Irish friend of his as well, because he'd spent some time in Ireland. So yeah, it was just an interesting composite, I think, of people he'd known. And yeah, he said, I read somewhere that he'd said that this couldn't happen today, that this would get fact checked.
Somebody
And
would
I
fact
thought,
check his ass.
I'm not sure. I think this could absolutely happen today. I mean, look at all the things that we talk about, what our show's about. I think this kind of thing could
Still
absolutely
does
happen
happen.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea that he believes there's fact checkers, which, I mean, they exist, but they don't exist in the ecosystem of story generation for the most part. They exist on the outside criticizing and trying to make an impact. And then people who don't want to care about that stuff just never look at the fact checks, right?
Well,
So
what I wonder is, why did he come out and say this was fabricated? This was a farce. I lied. This was fiction. What drove him to do that? Do you know?
well, it had been 20 years, and I gather that he was feeling a little guilty about it. And with the 20-year anniversary coming up, somebody was going to find out, like it was going to happen, right? And so better to come out and just say it yourself. And also,
Do you think Vincent might have had something to do with it? Getting a hold of him saying, dude, you got to be honest about this.
yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, because Vincent, as portrayed in the story, not in the movie, he has to clear his head by pretending that he's murdering people, all his enemies, over and over again for like when he counts to 100. And I'm like, yeah, they cut that out of the movie. There's a whole
But
like they redefined his whole family situation. He has an unemployed dad rather than a dad who went to prison for being a thief, and so they're living in a really nice home. I would say, especially now, it would be a multi-million-dollar home in Brooklyn.
in
But
Brooklyn, yeah. But he might
yeah,
have gone to jail for all we know. We don't know everything about their past, so it's
that's
possible.
true. Yeah, but
It's
in the
unspoken.
movie, it's basically the mom is got basically a prison widow, in the sense that, there's no breadwinner except for her kids, and they're a bunch of messed up people, and so the Vince is the best of them, and all he wants to do is go to the disco and look awesome. And so the movie constructs a news story where he's trying to rise out of his situation, but it all happens in like the last few minutes. Like he does not seem to even be aware that he's in a bad situation. And boy, he loses a lot of sympathy with the attempted date rape. There's a lot that
He
happens in the
doesn't
last
do
act.
anything. He's just complicit, and that was really
Well, no.
shocking.
Oh no,
Blake's
I meant
talking
his
about
attempted rape, not the gangbang in the back
of
seat.
his
No,
new girlfriend.
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, he's just
yeah.
passing it on, isn't he? But he doesn't
And
learn anything. If you look at the sequel, I mean, Matt
oh,
and
I
I
did
just kind
not.
of, well, we dipped our toes into it. It was very unfortunate. Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about that? The Stallone poster, Rocky poster on the wall, and
the
what
the
happened
2% on
then?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
Yeah.
2%. I heard it was zero. So
Zero is
2%.
what I had seen. But
That's
yeah, no,
impressive.
it was gross.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Well,
That's pretty much it. Yeah. No, I mean,
he
Stallone decided that he was gonna, do the sequel and everything. So, and he felt like there was a connection because of him being in the first movie via a poster on the wall. Uh, and it
Well, and the
just was
director was
terrible.
originally going to be the director from Rocky, but he got
Right.
bumped for John Badham.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. So
yeah.
there's reasons and stuff that goes on that is not the topic of this show, other than it just is so bad. And it's
Well,
not
I
one of
think
those
the
movies that's so bad
plot.
it's good. It's not, it's just so bad
Uh,
it's
uh,
bad.
Well, yeah, I
the
think the from what we'd
sorry, go ahead.
seen, sorry, the plot seemed just really thin, and it seemed like at the end of Saturday Night Fever, perhaps he had matured, this kind of coming of age, as people keep saying, and he had realized that he could be friends with a woman, and that he could have a platonic relationship, and you've got this whole
Yes.
more than a woman theme going. So you think, okay, he's matured. But from what I could see in the sequel, it seems like he is just cheating, has a new girlfriend, is cheating on her, and keeps going back and forth and lying. And he's now a dancer, I think, on Broadway
Mhm.
dancer.
Yeah,
So
that's the
his
Yeah.
yeah
career,
from the
his
poster.
career has
Yeah.
moved forward, but it seems in terms of just his maturity that he's gone backwards again, or he hasn't really progressed. So I don't know. To me, that was just such a big focus for the ending, and yet
But
in the sequel, that's just completely lost, and he's just a
it this
bad
is
guy again.
this is from an okay again this me my English major coming out again, but the thing about a narrative is if you have a complete story arc and it reaches a conclusion, if you want to have a sequel, you have to establish a new problem to be solved, or otherwise there's not really much story there.
So just
And in
make it
this
the old
case,
problem again.
it's the old
He was
problem
still the
again. That
problem.
is so
Yeah.
common. It is so lazy to just make it the old problem again, as though they never learn anything, right?
Well, to
And
be honest, I don't know if there's any resolution. So, we are really coming to this with very little information other than seeing a couple of trailers and just thinking, okay, he's learnt nothing. He's reverted back to square one. But yeah, I don't know. I just did not really like the movie, to be honest.
no, I hated
And
it. By the way, just I mean, I shouldn't say I hated it. I would say I've
You could
only
say that.
since well, I found it difficult to stomach as a 2025 movie watcher because so much of the
very
cultural stuff
dated.
was very dated. It was very we it was unacceptable, and it felt like it was being glamorized like
Yep.
that. But it may not have been the intent, because like again, when I was looking about facts about the movie, one of the shocking discoveries was this was Gene Siskel of Siskel and Ebert's favorite film. He
I
watched it more
know.
than 17 times.
Hmm.
He bought the
Bought the
leisure
suit.
suit that Travolta wore, right? Or one of the two, right?
Which
Because
has
they had to have
increased in
two because he
value
sweat so much.
exponentially. Yeah, apparently they had
Yeah.
three, but we heard it was worth, I think they paid a couple $100 for it, and then it was sold, or the one that was left behind was sold for about $2,500, and then more recently, something like $150,000, I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's but so and I should point out that Nick Cohn made a mint. I mean, he made this story up, and he got $90,000 for the movie rights, which is about 500,000 today. And then he got 175,000 plus a percentage of the film's profits for his work on the film. So that's a million before the percentages start rolling out. And this movie made a lot of money. Anyway, he and his wife bought an old inn and live in it, and he has a writing hut in the back. It's great.
Oh, I bet it's
So
haunted.
yeah, so
Well, did he do
he
anything
married.
else?
What was that?
Did he do anything else? I mean, once he wrote this bloody article and
Yeah,
then all of
he
this
could.
just
Yeah,
exploded, did he do anything else?
yeah. He continued to be he was a rock critic and writer and an influential journalist for a long time.
It just
Yeah.
seems like he hasn't really paid his dues, and that he kind of got away with this. And I find it confusing. I don't see how no one could have torn this apart and looked into this earlier. I mean, I wonder if maybe, I don't know, I'm just surmising here, if someone was planning to blackmail him. If you don't tell the truth, then I'll come out and reveal it.
Oh,
I just don't
that's
know, how could you get away for
it's
two
conspiratorial, but
decades?
it sounds completely plausible.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
mean,
why
they
not?
know he's got money, right? Yeah. I mean, so if you're
Yeah,
going to blackmail somebody,
but someone must
your career
have
is built on
known.
lies. Yes, I'm a writer. That's what we
Well,
do.
yeah, we know he changed the names to protect the guilty, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wonder if someone knew, even if he told other people and they said, "Well, look, we're going to reveal this if you don't pay me. And I don't know, the speculation completely. But just 20 years to get away with that is surprising.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But again, I'm still reeling from having not no pun intended for a change, from having watched the film this morning. Reeling though, that is pretty good. I wish I
This
hadn't to say
morning,
that.
wow, you've
Yeah,
honed it in.
yeah. I was
Well,
watching. It was much like Citizen Kane. I had to watch it over a period of time because of my
well,
life.
that's the thing though. We assumed that you'd seen this some time ago because you've been pushing this to the point where I thought, okay, Blake, he's a closet disco fan. That's
Okay,
okay. I
look, the
still love
disco
him.
ball's right here. Everybody's like, "Where's the disco ball?" It's right behind. It's on the tip of my finger.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
I see.
tiny.
I see.
It's a little. It's like this big.
But we
It's
truly
adorable.
just assumed that you had watched this before, maybe, I don't know, 17 times.
No.
But
I
then you
just I
start to
listened to the soundtrack. I love disco music. Unironically, I love disco music. So yeah.
that is surprising. I would never have thought. But then suddenly we get this stream of text messages this morning from Blake giving us this running commentary of the film, and I'm like, okay, has he seen this before? This is
No.
really strange. Yes, there's racism. Yes, there's sexism. How could you have not known this? And so it didn't dawn on us for quite some time that you hadn't seen it. So that was a
Yeah,
surprise.
no. All I was just so excited about. Okay, well, and
Since you
again,
were in it, Noel.
this movie was so popular when I was a kid, and there was a PG cut of the film, and
Mm.
I don't know what that means exactly. 'Cause I've never seen the PG cut because I only just now saw the R-rated cut.
Well,
But
Matt, you can talk about that. Matt was watching videos, and we saw these kind of side by side videos of the original and then the PG. I think they cut out about maybe 8 7 8 minutes because of
oh
all of
wow,
the swearing and
like
the
they could have cut
racism.
the last act, and it would have been a better movie.
Well, they also,
He gets the
sort of
trophy, and they end it right. So yeah.
as they were filming, they would do on a lot of scenes, they would do, the one that would be good for TV later down the road, so different words instead of cuss words. And then in the other parts, they just overdubbed. But
Someone in the Nemo says, "Did you say PG or did you mean BG cut?"
Oh,
Solid, solid.
oh, very, yeah, Blake quality,
Someone's
that
knocking on
one.
my
Yeah.
door while I'm live streaming.
But oh,
I'm on the air.
Is it turn on the disco ball?
It is on. It's spinning.
Oh.
Thank you for. Okay, get out of here. Yeah. Okay. Live television.
well, there's that initial scene where they go to the bridge. That's Brooklyn Bridge, presumably. Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
think
watched the
so.
documentary
And
about it in the middle of this film.
wow, it's still got some rabbit holes, right? But
Yeah.
where they pretend to jump off, and is it Annette? I
Yes.
think she runs to the edge, and she says UFUCKERSs, and so in the PG version she says you freakers.
you
So it's
fakers,
fakers. I thought it was
you fake,
freakers.
no,
I
it's
think I saw.
fakers
Well,
because
then I think I've seen that version.
they were faking falling off the thing. So she says, "You fakers."
But yeah,
They were
but it
dressing
was
up like
of
a
that
Godzilla
ilk.
monster. They're Mothra fakers. They're very the worst. Mothra
But
fakers. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know where to go with this.
Well, I would say
It's
it's interesting that, this movie supposedly really skyrocketed Travolta. But he had huge fame before with Welcome Back, Kotter. And also the sets were swarmed with fans from his Welcome Back, Kotter, fame. But this movie didn't seem to produce a whole lot of other stars. And I think Karen and I only noticed one other kind of star in
Yeah,
the
well,
whole
see
movie.
if Blake spotted this person as well. So I guess one of
Oh,
one
I
of his
certainly did.
fans.
Yeah,
Okay.
I spotted the woman who comes and says, "Are you as good in bed as you are on the dance floor?" Fran
Yep.
Drescher.
Fran
Yeah,
Drescher, the nanny, and her
yeah.
accent wasn't as pronounced. So
It
I
was
didn't.
yeah, yeah.
She was younger, and I didn't. Her accent wasn't as pronounced, and so I didn't recognize her at first, and took a closer look, and it was like, oh wow, yes, that's Fran Drescher.
But I
Of
have to wonder,
Spinal Tap
so
fame.
is that the real accent? Or is the other
Probably.
one
I
the
mean,
real?
well, it's yeah. It's I think yeah, very affected. I think
I mean,
for
remember
obviously
Bobcat
for TV for a
Goldthwait? Remember
sitcom.
Bobcat Goldthwait used to do that crazy voice all the time, and that's just made up. Like that's not
What?
how he
That's
really
yeah,
talks.
disappointing. I'm still
What?
not over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think yeah, so the other actors I wasn't really familiar with, and we've heard that the role of Stephanie, there were a number of very well-known actresses that were vying for that position, and it ended
Carrie
up going
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher. That yeah,
Wow.
she was one of them. And then apparently this actress, it was a Karen, I should know my namesake, and so she was actually caught a taxi, I think, with some
The
young guy.
nephew, the nephew of the
And yeah,
producer,
who
I believe.
turns out to be the nephew of the producer. And he says, "Oh, blah blah blah, there's this new movie." And she says, "Oh, am I in it?" Apparently that's what she would routinely say when people would talk about movies. So she was joking, but also trying to, further her prospects. And so this guy took a liking to her and put her forward, and she got the job. But yeah, I was rather surprised with her airs and graces when she opened her mouth. Her accent rather betrayed her airs and graces. Very
Oh, there's the
non-standard.
disco ball.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
And now it's spinning. It's doing its thing.
Did you buy that
Nice.
just for this?
Here, hang on, hang on.
Uh,
Let me
my-
stop this so people can actually see
Mrs.
it.
Dr. Atlantis did this. Mrs. Dr. Atlantis did this. So
Very
my
kind.
wife, she got this for the show. And yeah, I'm hoping it wasn't super expensive because, I am hoping it wasn't super
I
expensive.
don't think it was.
But the problem was if I put it down on my desk, it disappears.
Disappears.
So I
Mm.
put it behind me so that people could see it, but no one
You
can
could-
see it.
You could just hold it throughout this entire
Apparently-
episode,
Exactly. It's like
There you go.
Could have
it's
just got
pretty
a
much just
background
like
like mine.
I feel like it's like R2D2 for some reason.
I
don't
thought
know.
we threw that out. I'm not happy. Don't give Matt any ideas. Don't give Matt any ideas. The platform shoes that I've had to throw out over the years. Kiss fan.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
I am
Yeah.
the gains.
He
That's
is
all I say.
talking to me right now.
Yeah, I am exactly. Yeah, I actually was. Sorry. Rest in peace, Ace Frehley is all I'm saying. That's
Right,
Mm,
right.
mm.
So speaking of
Also, I've
musical
just
acts-
exhausted all my Kiss knowledge. It's like-
Oh, mine too. I'm there.
Let's talk a little bit about these guys. So
This is without the makeup, they look totally different.
they do.
Yeah.
But supposedly they
One of them's missing. Yeah.
yeah. Well, he's dead. All of the things online are like, oh, these guys, they just exploded on the scenes, becoming international stars from this movie. No, that is not the truth at all. For those of us that knew about them before, they started rather young, and
And they lived in Australia, so they're kind of
Yeah.
honorary Aussies. I think they were maybe born in the UK and then lived or grew up
Yeah.
in Australia.
mhm.
I believe that is correct because I saw a documentary for real. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. I mean, I like this, here they are on Ed Sullivan, and really looking the time period. That's
See
exactly.
the fellow with the white trousers? He looks a little like you, Matt, when you were younger.
Well,
Do you think? I see it.
It's not. And I know
yeah,
that because this was March 17th, 1968. I was born on March 17th, 1969. So
Reincarnation.
that is not me.
Reincarnation.
Oh, yeah.
Pre-incarnation, and it was like
Yeah.
the
Well-
movie was produced by Robert Stigwood, who was also from Australia.
Oh, so lots of
There you go.
Australian ties
There you
there.
go.
And
Lots of
And then,
time.
Yeah.
John Travolta goes on to star in Grease with Olivia Newton-John.
Oh,
Right.
but the-
Stigwood produced Grease as well, but he wanted to put
Oh.
Travolta in it, but they couldn't do that movie until it finished its Broadway run. And so that's why they did this movie instead.
So,
Okay.
speaking of Welcome Back, Cotter, I don't know what else we should talk about here.
Well, I do
Um,
have a good Barry Gibb quote though that I want to
Oh, okay.
share.
Okay.
So apparently, when he found out about Cohen and everything that had happened, he said to him, "It's all your bloody fault, isn't it?"
Yeah.
So I thought that was good fun. But
It
yes,
is
I don't.
funny.
I think Scientology is the elephant in the room here, isn't it? Really.
It really is. And when we're talking, we had heard through all of this that Travolta felt that he had gotten his roles on like Welcome Back Kotter and Saturday Night Fever because of Scientology. So it is interesting. And then I know a lot of people were very annoyed that he was trying to get people to come to services the whole time. And it's like, I'm here to make a movie, not go to church, or
Well,
like
yeah,
how the other people were feeling.
apparently he'd gone to a Scientology session, and the person who was running the group, because it's not your typical kind of place of worship.
I just want to show
uh,
the werewolf L. Ron Hubbard bust here,
well,
because that is
that's
really important.
totally thrown me. Yeah. So this was research for God Bless America all those years ago, and so Matt and I experienced a Scientology service, and boy, I mean, I never experienced any kind of place of worship like the
The
Scientology
center,
church.
yeah.
This is in Denver, and so we went along and we turned up, and they're rather confused because usually they're having to rope people in. Usually they're having to drag people in and say, "Oh, do you want to get a an
Audited or
can't
whatever.
remember. Audited reading. I can't even think
No, just to
what the
come in. Would
posters
you
they used
like
to
to
have.
come in and
Or
it's
the
the little
personality
e-meter.
test is their other one.
Yeah, the
E-meter
Yeah,
e-meter.
personality test thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Personality test, and so normally they're having to rope people in, drag them in, and yet here we are, just these willing victims, and we turn up and we're offering ourselves as
What?
sacrifices to Scientology, and so we said we're here for the service, and we really perplexed them. They, I think, are not used to that, and it was even though it was a Sunday, it might as well have been a Monday or any day of the week there because everyone was working. And we were the only attendees for the service, and they had to pretty much drag someone in, one of their ministers who could perform the service. And it was really, I think, a kind of mix of auditing and I think hypnosis, really, just
Yeah,
very,
hypnotherapy, hypnosis is a better term for it. Yeah.
yeah. And it lasted for
Wow.
about an hour. And I think at the end of it, I was willing to buy some auditing classes just to get the hell out of there. It just went on
It's
and
like
on
a
and on.
timeshare. You just, can we get through this so I can get to Disney?
But it was, yeah, really palatial, but that totally, yeah, threw me. But from what I've heard about Travolta, he'd gone to a service, and all of the people who were attending there all looked towards the direction of where the Welcome Back Cotter was going to be filmed, and the direction of where Saturday Night Fever was going to be filmed, and basically sent their intentions to their good vibes and their intentions. And so uh, Travolta did credit Scientology with him getting a leg up in the acting industry, among other things too, because he's had a number of losses. And for that, I feel very empathetic. And he believes that they did help him through those. But of course, the popular opinion outside of Scientology is that had he not been a Scientologist, perhaps some of these deaths could have been avoided. That's the sad thing.
Now, it's interesting because while he, in those years, was in Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard was around, and so it's kind of
Those were the
interesting,
days.
yeah, to know that he was around for that, and he was the most favorite of all of them. He was best buds with David Miss Cabbage, and
Miss Cabbage.
he, but then L. Ron Hubbard vanished, and we don't know where he went. Um,
We
and
don't know where Shelley Miscavige went either, do we?
no, we don't. But at least with Elron, they do have his office in every center, around the world, for him to come back to, so he can just pick up his work again as soon as he comes back. And this was the one in Denver.
So he'll
Uh,
be reincarnated then.
yeah. And sorry, these are all blurry, but there was no cameras allowed. And they had special
Ah,
things to sense if you
Well,
had
yeah, those
cameras.
were
Apparently, it
very
worked as well as the
surreptitious. Yeah,
e-meters.
yeah.
But yeah, so very interesting times. But yes, when Tom Cruise came along, he became.
wait, are those books like Mission Earth? What?
Dianetics, I guess.
It's yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of
They
all
sure
of
look
his
like the
books.
covers. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
It was
That's
creepy looking in there in this weird time capsule. But
some people are speculating too that Travolta is on the way out and he's slowly leaving Scientology because apparently Tom Cruise held some massive party recently and Travolta didn't turn up, didn't show up. Those hair plugs.
but yes, they are. But the problem is that he and Tom Cruise don't get along. So
I didn't know that.
yeah. Well, the problem is
Egos.
Travolta. Well,
I'm just here for the celebrity dirt. What?
yeah, Travolta was, he was in for a long time and he was buying products like crazy. He was bringing people into the church and he was rising up through the ranks. Good friends with David, as I had mentioned. He worked really hard for the church. Tom Cruise came in and did nothing. He didn't buy anything. He didn't really, do a whole lot, but he became best buds with David Miscavige. And suddenly Travolta's like, what is going on? I've been here working the whole time and trying
But
to bring the
he's
church up,
still.
and Cruise just comes
Mm.
in and cruises right in. So he's not very happy with Tom Cruise. So I think if Tom Cruise threw a party, he'd just be like,
Well, apparently Tom Cruise flew in a helicopter, and so people were saying, well, why didn't I don't know, John Travolta fly in on a plane because he's a pilot and all, right? But I think that they've both received the red carpet treatment, and
Mhm.
both of them have no idea what Scientology
What-
is like for the
and what
average
real
person.
life is like.
Yeah, they've got a lot of
I don't
privilege,
have
both
much
of
to add
them.
to that. It's like, yeah, that's always bugged me. Although I always wondered about Tom Cruise, like after he did what's the one with Jack Nicholson in the legal drama Navy law case. We have
4th of
men.
July or?
No.
Huh?
Oh, this is killing me. I'm looking at the chat room.
See, we're all
Oh,
seeming rather pathetic
A
now.
Few Good
We're
Men.
gonna have.
I've remembered it. A Few Good
Oh,
Men.
okay.
There's that speech where he's like, are we clear, Crystal? And I was like,
Born on
every
the
time
4th of July.
yeah, well, so Jack Nichols is like, are we clear? And I kept thinking about how that must have impacted Cruise to hear that, and
Cruz is, yeah, he's clear.
yeah, for sure.
He's clear. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gone clear. But yeah, I do think that the story of Scientology is interwoven into Saturday Night Fever because, as Matt was saying, a lot of people were complaining that he was trying to bring people on board and to that I think they even had misgivings about bringing him on in the first place because they thought he was going to proselytize and promote Scientology. So I think that was a strike against him. But at that time, from my understanding, he was back and forth with Scientology. And there were a number of people who've come out in going clear and said that he was kind of losing his way, and they were trying to bring him back in and get him to purchase more auditing and purchase more courses and classes to keep going across the Rainbow Bridge, or I can't remember. I don't know, what is he, OT8? He'd have to be OT8, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and I think I can't remember, to be honest. I know there was I think that Tom Cruise actually never progressed past OT3. Just because
I don't think it matters for him. He can
it
do
doesn't matter.
anything.
He didn't feel like buying any of this stuff. And that's the big question. Is it better to have misgivings than Miscavige?
Miscaviges.
I don't know.
But apparently Tom Cruise, when he was with Nicole Kidman, that he was kind of breaking away from Scientology too. And so I think that they just let him get away with not proceeding along the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
someone
wish I knew
in the
more.
audience
Yeah,
can
but
correct us with
well,
the
it's like one of
terminology.
those things where, the terminology. Yeah. I don't know what the name. Yeah,
Well, and that's the sad thing.
there's
We've
so much.
studied this a lot in the
Yeah.
past.
Years
but
ago,
every
like a
time you
decade
put,
ago,
yeah, you
I
put new
remember.
information in, old information goes out. So.
Yeah, I know that feeling
Absolutely.
a lot lately.
Well,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
no
we can
good.
talk about language
Speaking
acquisition.
of
I'm good,
horrors.
but Scientology, it's just like a long ago memory, fortunately. But it is interwoven with the story of Saturday Night Fever, so therefore relevant.
Yeah. So so do you remember in the PG version, to get back to that question, did they keep all these storyline things about the the guy with the girlfriend who was pregnant. This, did they cut the abortion references? Did they cut the gang rape? Did they
They
cut like
did
the
cut
They
that.
they sort of did.
Didn't
They
show her, and they had her laughing instead. So
in
you
the
think
back
that
seat, but you
she's
couldn't see her.
that she's just in the back seat and giggling. So they really
Oh
kind of
my God,
minimized.
that's
They
really
minimized that.
terrible.
They really
sanitized the
whitewashed
hell
it.
out of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. They also
Oh
cut
my
out the
Lord.
racism, so the reference to some of the terminology that they used. I think they kept some of it in, but other parts. So again, I think that shows that kind of progression of how racism was viewed and how certain ethnic groups were viewed at that time as opposed to now, because some were acceptable, surprisingly, and then in the PG version, and then sorry, in the original version, and then in the PG version, others weren't. But it just didn't really add up. I think it was in accordance with what the racism was at the time.
But
Yeah.
I didn't
didn't
really
the
want to
P-
use the terms.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
no. And
did the PG version have a different name? Because I'm
Or
remembering Sesame Street Fever.
oh, it's funny you say that because Nick Cohn's wife writes children's books, and many of them are Sesame Street books. It's all
well,
connected,
You know,
man.
you
It's
know,
all
you know that
full
connected.
Robin
circle,
Gibb,
yeah.
Robin Gibb sang on a lot of those Sesame Street Fever songs.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can't underestimate just the impact of this movie culturally, and just how huge it still is. I mean, we are
Yeah.
talking about this 50 years on.
And I'm still asking why.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that the story, like the magazine story, it did not have this attempted rape. It didn't have the gang bang. It didn't have the suicide story. It didn't have the abortion story. It did not have him have a female lead, let alone be friend zoned, right? It had none of that. But it made up for all that with child molestation. So I mean, it really 50.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Sorry. What?
Yeah.
Okay, this is news.
In the magazine article, what happens is, one of the gang, what they call them, the Faces. That's the name of the gang. One of the Faces,
Very
little
Clockwork
sister.
Orange.
The way it's worded, if you read it, it says basically that a creepy guy is trying to make the moves on her, and he keeps saying she's pretty, and she's like 11, right? And then she comes home and is crying, but they never said anything happened. But then one of the gang says, this guy molested my sister. We got to go take him out. And so they go to his house. They're going to knock the door down and take him out. They can't get the door down. And then they decide, well, we'll go take someone else out because somebody needs taken out. And then they leave. And the author's like, wait, can I go with you? And they're like, no. If you go with us, you're going to get killed. And that's the end of the story. So
Okay,
it's
so there are parallels to the scene in the movie where they go and beat up these guys.
Yes,
and then
yes,
find
where they
out
go beat up this guy.
it wasn't
right.
them. Yeah, the
Right.
wrong.
Only in this
wrong
case,
guys.
they are deliberately going for the wrong people because they can't get to the right people. So, and it's not like it's not even. It's like one crazy guy, and they're like, well, if we can't get him, we'll go find somebody because somebody's
I
done
don't want
something.
nobody, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get you.
So, anyway, it is a good read. I mean, the magazine article is I can see why it got people's attention, but yeah, no,
Not true.
Now, this movie is a hard
Well,
pass for me now that I've seen it. So
Yeah, I mean, the rough part about the article is reading it. We do a lot of shows on the based on a true story that just have no basis in fact at all. But this story could really easily have had a basis in fact. The fact that it didn't almost doesn't matter because the movie is fictional anyway. It's never billed itself as based on a true story. And I think that
But this journalist, I really think he's culpable. And
he's
not so
culpable.
much the movie itself or the producers, or other than that it's terrible.
Well, the thing is he didn't tell a fantasy story, with dragons and crap like that. He
it
was
was
telling
plausible. It was obviously
a
plausible.
very plausible story.
Yep. Very
Unlike
gritty, very realistic, very low stakes too. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, the big prize in here, he's not going to get out of town with this prize. It's a $500 prize. And now
Right.
that is like 3.2 million today, but that's inflation, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not a high stakes thing, right? And ultimately,
Oh, wait, Blake, it's now 3.4 million as of this
yeah,
time.
there you go.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest crime in all of this is the fashion, except for the flares. Flares are okay. But look what it's done to Blake. It's 2025. What is that? What is that?
But this is a
Goodwill.
vintage 1970s leather jacket for real. So yeah.
It's leather. It doesn't look, it looks like PU.
No, it's leather. It's leather.
PU.
Well, no, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know
Yeah.
if it looks like it stinks necessarily, but
I mean,
Polyurethane.
yes, a cow died, but it was a few minutes ago,
It's
1970
not worth it.
something. Yeah, it's like
I have a jacket like that. Several,
Well,
actually, several acrylics died for that jacket to be made.
Well, I wore flares this morning, so I mean that aspect is good. Flares have
That was
come
an
back.
Ali
Everything
G
old
reference for those.
is new again, but yeah, the polyester and everything else. I don't know. It's unforgivable.
it's certainly hot. I can't imagine leisure suits will be back, but everything eventually does come back. So,
Oh, I think
I'd like
yeah, I know. I think
futuristic space togas should come before leisure suits
there's an
come back.
enclave for that kind of thing. I still see people wearing safari suits, so go figure. But
I can go change right now.
I bet you can.
She was talking about you.
Oh,
I saw Leonard Nimoy had a safari jacket. I had to have one, so I do have one for real. That's really
Mhm.
funny. So
That's fair.
he had
yeah,
some
I should have
spiffy
it right
moments
here.
still.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I couldn't
collar
find
next
a
to the
collar quite wide
skivvies.
enough. So yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
in the chat, somebody's asking if we're going to perform a Bee Gees song. So I thought I'd go ahead and get it. Actually, go ahead, Blake.
I'm gonna do the robot version. How beef is your love?
You know, and I like that song. And
Oh,
More
I
Than a
love
Woman,
the
I
Bee
think
Gees.
they're quite magical songs. And I
They
did think it was
are.
interesting towards the end of the movie when they have the dance off, the dance competition. And I did think that they're dancing. So Stephanie and you know, and John, where the dancing was kind of subdued and it was not quite as energetic. I thought the other dancers were superior, and I did think that that was interesting. That kind of realization that he had that he was getting preferential treatment and by his friends, and that these other dancers were superior. And I don't think that it was any. I think it was intended that these other dancers were ethnic, you know, and that he's getting this preferential treatment. But I did think that their dancing was still beautiful. And I think a lot of the music was really beautiful. And I think that's really what we can take away from this movie is just the music, that it's this day still popular and just if it was for the music alone, I think a lot of people would think that it was worth it.
Well,
They
here's a
taught
good
us how to
example.
love.
I had to do a. I don't know why I said I had to, but I auditioned for a band recently, and one of the songs that I had to learn was "You Should Be Dancing," and so it's still big today. And I made it in the band, but schedules didn't work out, so that's all right. But yeah, it's interesting. You go to audition for a new band, and they're wanting you to learn an old Bee Gees song. So
Oh yeah, I just can't believe that most of them are gone now too.
the
Most of
oldest
the
one
They
is the
are.
only one
brothers Gibb
standing. Yeah.
to Barry,
And the youngest one was the first to go
and that was
with Andy.
drugs.
Yeah, Andy died of a cocaine overdose. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah,
Way to bring
he
that
didn't.
disco down.
Yeah.
Why did he never
Don't bring
perform
me
with
down.
them? Why was he not a
Oh,
member of
he
the
actually
Bee
did.
Gees?
He did perform with them on
Okay,
occasion. In
okay.
fact, if you go look at the video for "You Should Be Dancing," he is singing with them in
Oh,
that.
okay. Not
So,
when they
but
were
yeah,
just the
but
skiffle band or
I was gonna say Leo Sayer. I always think of him as being Australian, but I guess he was actually born in England as well.
mhm.
But
thanks.
he ended up in Australia. But he's a good singer.
Yeah,
Love his disco music. You make me feel like dancing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I just think, in this episode we could have gone into a lot more detail, I think, in discussing the movie and discussing the themes. Um, but
I mean, I would
well,
say, like
it's
again,
dark. A lot of it's very dark.
it's very dark. The last 20 minutes felt to me like I was watching a horror movie, or it really did. Right up until like and at the end, he gets this denouement, but it felt so. He's basically realized my life is crap. I've got to start over. I guess I'll start with trying to be friends with a lady if I can figure that out. And
A
that's
lady,
the
a female.
a female, a girl,
But that's
the
pretty much how we watched the movie too. I think we watched
yeah.
most of the movie, and then the next night, because again, having a young child, still it's difficult to just sit down and watch a movie from start to finish. And we watched the last bit, and yeah, it was very depressing to see the ending. And then it just seemed to kind of cut short and just end abruptly. And we wondered, well, what happened next? And it just seemed to be a very sudden ending and no real resolution.
Until
Yeah.
Sly picks it up.
And yeah, and he went backwards.
I mean, I don't know if hardcore Saturday Night Fever fans consider Staying Alive canon or not. It might be like, have y'all ever seen Blade Runner? They only made one Blade Runner movie,
And only one Highlander.
What did I say? Blade Runner? Yeah, I meant Highlander. That's exactly what I meant. Did I mention I'm old and my brain rolled out of my head a few minutes ago?
Well, it didn't help
Terrible.
watching this movie. Absolutely, we lost
No.
some brain cells. But
Anyway,
I think we're coming to an end. So I think, are there any questions in
there was
the
someone,
audience?
Yeah. In the chat room, somebody asked if I could play a few bars of "You Should Be Dancing," and there's only one important
I
part.
bet that's not a real question. I think you just made that up because you want to play guitar.
No one, no. No, there's only one important part to "You Should Be Dancing," and it's right here. Could you hear that?
Nope.
No.
That's it. Well, that's it though. So it goes.
I can't hear
Are
it.
you hearing it?
I'm hearing it. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, we're gonna have to.
This ability for Zoom to filter out sounds is kind of scary.
Too good.
Because,
Mm.
It is.
yeah.
So yeah,
I guess I could be a lot
there are
more,
other ways to do it, but
yeah. Uh-oh, here we go. Are you going to go acoustic?
no, I'm gonna go electric. So, see, can you hear that? No?
No.
Okay, well, that's probably good. Probably a good thing. So,
Cool.
Oh my God.
Are there any other questions or comments that we should address? If not saying that we know the answers at all.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody has any other questions. So, because we did start late.
Mm.
I'm not seeing any burning questions, but we might be like 30 seconds out, so we probably should. I don't know. We can wind down. I feel like we've covered the main thing, which is that this incredibly influential film was based on nonsense, not a true story, yet somehow weirdly became a true story in the sense that people adopted the lifestyles and behaviors here as though they were real, which is just amazing to me.
That's remarkable.
We didn't really
It
talk about
really
disco
is,
demolition. But
yeah. Well, I'm just glad that we have this done.
Yeah, got it out of my
'cause
system.
You've got it out of your system. You've been talking about it
Yes.
for quite some time.
I
And now
have.
you've been shocked into reality having watched the movie like us.
Boy,
But I
that is
I
so
think it's
true.
interesting. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys in particular, when it comes to pop culture, you're up with everything and you've seen everything. And the fact that neither of you had seen this was surprising to me.
I imagine we had about the same problem. We were a little too young to be watching it first run, and then it kind of just
Was
disappeared.
a little
after
too not
5 years.
born.
Yeah.
so Blake, have you seen Ken Russell's The Devils?
Yes, I saw it for the first time this year, as a matter of fact.
Because it was a request for notes.
Boy, that would be a ride. That's some kind of movie. So,
yeah, we do need to resume this series. It has been well received, and it is good fun. And I really like being introduced to new movies other than Saturday Night Fever. Saturday Night Live is what I keep calling it.
Me too. Me too. Same problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, all right. Well, thank you so much to the audience for who showed up live. That was great.
For our
If you're
first live Dotes, yeah.
yeah,
In a long
it
time.
was. Yeah. So this was great. Thank you very much. I
Thank
guess
you for
Matt, you're
joining
in
us.
charge here. I think you could turn us off.
Yeah.
Play us
Okay.
out, Matt.
Yeah.
All
Matt
right.
turns me